Hello there and welcome back to another Master Mouldie video. Today I was getting ready for the Star Trek build, the USS Enterprise, coming out the very first Star Trek set with the shuttle pod gift with purchase. We would have built by now, so go check out that stream. I was actually designing the minifigure for myself. I have this old police minifigure with like the stripes. You probably know if you have collected Lego, everyone's seen the city sets. And I started colouring the arms based on the Hawkeye CMF, which did inspire my arms for my own personal Star Trek minifigure. This is what the Hawkeye minifigure looks like. It's specifically the left arm, which you can see is dual moulded, which I'm surprised they didn't do for Star Trek. But the Star Trek costume isn't quite a fully dual molded arm. It would have needed some red printing anyway, so I can understand why they just printed the very tip tops of the shoulders, but this minifigure doesn't really look like it's from Star Trek beside the arms. Not only are we going to be finishing off this minifigure in today's video, which I have already got the decal ready to go, I'll show you how I work that out, but also designing something for myself. I have spent the last hour rummaging through my wardrobe looking for any sort of shirt. This is the closest I got to having any coloured shirt that I could then colour in the top part of the shoulders, just like a block of it, dye the top, and then also dye the little bump that's off centre towards the bottom of the top as well. I did have a little look. Amazon have the perfect official jacket for Star Trek Next Generation. However, at the time of recording this video, it's actually out of stock. What I did find is one of my old tracksuit jackets that is the perfect bright red, and I don't wear it anymore, which is good because I didn't want to ruin anything that I am going to continue wearing. But what I'm thinking is if we get rid of the Nike logo, paint that out, and I already have a Star Trek badge that I'll show you in just a second. Originally I wanted to dye the tops. I found some acrylic and fabric paint that we could work on the top as well. And then I can also do the same to the bottom, have the off-center triangle and just pair it with some black trousers. I think that would work perfectly for a nice Star Trek costume. And after Halloween, I do actually have the itch for more different costumes, especially when we're building things on stream. But before we get to designing the life-size costume, let's finish up the minifigure. Here's the minifigure so far. We've got the red sleeve arms, so of course the decal in question. Let me just cut off these other decals that will be used for future projects on the channel, including Star Wars, Marvel, Minecraft and more. Is the red top, which does come with a gift with purchase, only fitting. If we are going to build the gift with purchase first, we might as well have it accurate to that. And also is the jacket of Picard, who's the captain of the Enterprise, so kind of works as a two-in-one. But this has been printed on a water slide decal. Obviously parental guidance is advised if you are below the age of 18. Yes, most of you are over 20. I don't need to be telling you this, but you still need to be careful. You could still end up cutting yourself. Now we just need to plop this in a tank of water that I have already used for paint. It doesn't have to be clean. I should have really cleaned it out. Where in the meantime, I can advertise channel memberships. If you want to get your name on the Master Mouldie members Monolith, or I guess the second one should be called Master Mouldie's members more Monolith. There's a more we can squeeze in somewhere. I also have a store that I sell some things in, linked in the description. What's on sale right now? I have no idea, so why don't you go check that out? And I'm hoping to expand that in the new year. We've got a load of projects underway. Thank you to everyone that is supporting all the work that we're doing. And also I'm hoping to add a few more droids onto there, especially if Lego keep doing Lego and missing the bodies for Plo Koon's Astromech. That seems to have been a really, really popular figure. And I think that's it. Shall we check back with the decal? So this decal should be ready. Get that out of the way. And this is the front of the torso. Because we're using an old police torso, please work. Perfect first time. Look at that. Because we're using an old police torso, the back of it is plain. You could add a bit of detail to the back, paint it up, add a decal. My minifigure from Halloween, which is on my display stand here with all my other sig figs, and that is me dressed up as Dark Kenobi from Rebuild the Galaxy. To match this to myself, I am going to pop this off the Jedi robes and add this onto the Star Trek figure. Perhaps some sort of captain of my own. I guess captains of Star Trek are the masters of that world. You know, Jedi masters, master molds, or master builders. I think for Star Trek, we're going to have to settle with a captain. A Daha Master. I've given it a quick Google, Masters in Star Trek, and it's come up. A Daha Master is a military title for Klingons. So if I get my hands on that new Klingon element, which looks so good, I could become a Master of Star Trek. We've got Master Jedi. Master Mold is the main Sentinel, so that covers Marvel. We've got Master Builder from Lego, which ties like Ninjago and a lot of the rest together. Maybe Ninjago Master of Spin Jitsu. Why don't I have a Ninjago minifigure? It'd have to be like a Lloyd green or maybe a slightly darker green. I need to work on that. And now a Daha Master, which has been adopted onto the Star Trek Starfleet. And this torso is the next generation one. We've got a few primitive shapes cut out of the torso. We've got the black at the top to match up to the shoulders, the off-center triangle in the middle, which is also present in the logo. Can we get a zoom in on that? You can see it's an oval or a squash circle with an off-centered triangular quadrilateral of some sort with rounded off edges, kind of a one-sided shape really, how I've designed it. Specifically Star Trek The Next Generation, which is what the whole Enterprise is for. It's the 5th version of the Enterprise, as we know, for those of us that chimed into the stream. And earlier today, I printed a badge and have already misplaced it. Earlier today, I printed this Star Trek badge, which I do have to paint up still. I will reveal it for the final look at the end of this video. But it's a design on printables by Hangar on the Moon. That's Hangar 476832, Star Trek DS9/Voy and NG pin badges. I think that stands for the two different series Voyages. Maybe that's the other pin. But this is the one from Next Gen with the off-centered. I think it's meant to be like a silvery grey on top. That one already looks nice because we've done it in space grey, which is the colour of this filament. And then I need to find some gold or more like an ochre yellow to paint the background. And that clips to this little element here, which I'm hopeful I can either thread a pin through or sew it onto the jacket, which I initially was going to do, but now I mention it, a pin might be better so that we can pop it off and display it on our pin badge banner alongside all the others. Take a look at the badge next to the minifigure. That's a good display of how big this badge is actually going to be. But now that we've sorted out the minifigure, let's start with the jacket. And I think what I'm going to do, I ordered specifically for this video a tub of black paint, because what I usually use for painting any of the Legos is this set of acrylics, Crawford and black. I've done a bit of digging into them, and apparently their new paints are a lot more watered down and are not what they used to be when we picked this up like 5 years ago, probably. It probably is about that old. If you want to pick up this specific one, they are on Amazon. Last I checked, they were like 70 quid. Don't spend your money on it. It's not that worth it. But our black is running thick. Like, look at that. Look at that. That is, paint has been scraped from that, and it's basically empty all the way down to the bone. So I've gone and got myself, well, I didn't go anywhere actually. I waited for this to get delivered, and what should be in here from Art Echo, as in the popular Star Wars character, had to be done, is a big bottle, 17 Freedom Fluid ounces, or 500 milliliters. For those of us that are using the proper measurement, we have a ½ liter bottle of black acrylic paint. Now, Art Echo do have a material paint. They have, I can't remember what they call it. It's like a fabric paint that is twice as expensive for half as much. This only costs like 12-13 pounds, which isn't a lot when it comes to acrylic paint. This is quite a cheap kit, and I'm hoping that this in shade 701 lamp black will be able to coat the top of the jacket. And I don't mind as much if it is a bit stiff, because this jacket does have, I have quite broad shoulders, so that will fit in the jacket well. And I'll color down to about about here, so we can still go over the shoulders. Don't want to do it too low for the pin badge. And some of you may be worrying about the fact that it's acrylic paint and it usually dries quite hard. This is a fairly cheap acrylic paint, so I'm hoping I won't have to water it down too much. But taking a look at some of the rubbery cape elements that I've already painted with acrylic paint, and I guess this is like a test as old as whenever I did this, because I only have a purple TPU. So taking a look at some of the acrylic pieces that I have already painted, which bend quite a bit. Like look at the bendage in that. Yeah, oh actually, I think the white one's cracked horizontal. That one doesn't work. Taking a look at some of the acrylic capes already and how much you can bend them all the way until they're touching, and there is absolutely no cracks on this cape. I just want to show you that up close, just so you can see there are no cracks forming on this cape, because the paint's probably been watered down over time. It's not an expensive paint. It's a pretty cheap acrylic paint. So I'm now gonna try to paint this. Hopefully it goes well. I'm gonna need a bigger brush than usual. I might time lapse it so that you can see the entire process, but I'll catch up either way once I've done the first coat. Hello there, it's a day later. And as you can see, I finished painting the jacket, but not only did I do the top, I mentioned about the bottom. We've got one more thing to do just before I go live in literally like 15 minutes, by the way. Let's take a look at the jacket. There we go. There's the off-center triangle, which doesn't bug me anywhere near as much as I thought. And it's almost a perfect line across the shoulders. Not just the front, the back as well, though I haven't continued the triangle, and I know it comes up the sides. That's way too much paint to be doing. But I'm also missing the badge, which I did show you. I showed you before I painted it. I have painted it with an ochre yellow. Looked actually better than gold. Gold was a bit too shiny, so I ochred yellow all over the top. And in the back, I managed to fit a safety pin, which should be fairly easy in theory to attach to the jacket, but we'll see about that. I have to say, it took me a lot longer than I wanted it to, or I thought, to take the pin off. But then putting it on, I feel like I spent as long trying to unclip the thing as I did clipping it back on. But now for the full reveal. Set lasers to focus. And there we go. There is the Star Trek jacket, which, considering the official one costs, what was it, £38, did I say at the start of the video? And this was I have to be honest, this is a Nike tracksuit top. So this probably also cost around £40, but you could probably pick one up in sale, or pick up a non-branded one. I would definitely recommend for this project, or even a t-shirt. Pick up a t-shirt. The acrylic paint probably wouldn't go as well with a t-shirt, because I think the material of the actual like tracksuit top, it's no like football shirt or anything, but it's definitely a different material. It's not cotton. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not cotton. And I don't know if in the back it'll actually tell me what material this is made out of. If it does, I have it on screen now. The acrylic paint hasn't dried like stiff. This is still very much a flimsy material that isn't going to crack no matter how many times I bend it and how many times I wear it. Though I have been told by the internet, which I tend to go with on matters that I know nothing about, that I should be careful when washing it, likely hand wash it, and also get rid of some of the marks. They're not too visible on camera. There's one black dot there, which is barely visible, and oh, there you go. You can see those ones. I put a bit of tissue down whilst I was letting the paintbrushes dry, and the black acrylic just soaked through. So that is how I built my Star Trek uniform. I've paired it with the black leggings, same ones from my Dark Kenobi from Rebuild the Galaxy, or Darth Obi-Wan Kenobi, I guess I should be saying. All I need now are some 3D printed accessories. So stay tuned. Maybe for another Star Trek event, you'll see me in this getup. I'm definitely putting this jacket back on for the video, but now you know how it was made. If you did see that video and check out the full stream, which I am about to go live. Let's not run late for that one. Until next time, check out the videos on screen, and may the bricks be with you always.